The sun of Zareth was not like the sun on Earth. It hung larger in the sky, casting a golden red light across the city of Vorith, the capital of the alien clans. Towers of shining crystal and metal stretched high, connected by bridges that pulsed with faint energy. Among these towers, creatures of all shapes and sizes moved about, some winged, some armored, some with scales that shimmered like mirrors. It was a world where strength and status were everything, and humans were almost unheard of. Ethan stepped out of the transport pod, his boots clicking against the smooth, metallic floor of the landing platform. He was young, barely 25, with a lean frame that made him look weaker than most aliens. He carried a small pack and a weapon he had carried since he left Earth, a simple plasma rifle. Nothing about him seemed special here. To the aliens, he would appear fragile, unremarkable. But Ethan had a skill humans were known for: adaptability. He had been sent as part of a diplomatic mission, though he had little idea what diplomacy would mean among these towering beings. His orders were simple: observe, learn, and survive. The city was bustling, alive with sounds of alien chatter and mechanical hums. Ethan kept his eyes sharp, noting every detail: the flowing patterns of alien clothing, the way energy shields shimmered around the city guards, the tension in the air as factions passed each other. And then he saw her, Liara. The princess of one of the most powerful clans moved with grace that was almost hypnotic. Her skin glowed faintly with a blue sheen, her eyes larger than a human's, filled with both curiosity and authority. She observed the crowd from the edge of a bridge, her gaze sharp, calculating. Something about Ethan caught her attention immediately. Perhaps it was the way he moved, careful but confident, aware of every danger but unwilling to be cowed by it. Ethan didn't notice her watching yet. He was focused on a street market below, where small alien vendors displayed glowing fruits and mechanical gadgets. His stomach rumbled. Hunger was a simple thing, even in a complex world like Zareth. He approached a stall cautiously. "Food?" he asked in basic Zarethian, a language he had studied in training. The vendor looked down at him, a tall alien with 4 arms and a face covered in fine scales. "You are human," he hissed. "Weak, you should not be here." Ethan smiled faintly. "Maybe, but I need to eat anyway." The alien scowled but handed him a small glowing fruit. Ethan took a bite, noting the tangy sweetness. It was strange but satisfying. As he moved away, a sudden roar echoed through the street. People screamed and ran in all directions. A massive creature, taller than a building, had broken free from a nearby enclosure. Its claws tore through walls and its eyes glowed red with rage. Civilians scrambled, panicking. Guards tried to form a perimeter, but the creature was too fast. Energy blasts shot from their weapons, but the creature barely flinched. Ethan froze for a moment, then instinct took over. He ducked behind a crate, scanning the environment. He noticed the creature's movements, its pattern. Then he saw a group of alien children trapped behind fallen debris. Their terrified eyes met his. Without thinking, Ethan ran. He dodged the creature's sweeping claws, ducked under falling metal, and reached the children. "Follow me," he shouted. "This way, quick." The children hesitated, but Ethan's voice carried authority. They ran after him as he led them through a narrow alley, jumping over broken beams and sidestepping pools of molten metal from ruptured energy conduits. From above, Liara leaned forward, her eyes widening. She had seen countless warriors in her life, but none moved like this human. He wasn't strong in the alien sense. He couldn't crush walls or tear through enemies, but he was clever, fast, and fearless. Every decision he made saved lives, and she felt an unfamiliar stir of admiration. Ethan found a narrow ventilation shaft large enough for the children to escape through. "Go, go," he urged. One by one, they scrambled inside. The last child hesitated. Ethan reached out, grabbing their small hand. "Trust me, you'll be safe." The child nodded, and they disappeared into the shaft just as the creature smashed the alley behind them. Ethan barely had time to jump out of the way before the creature's claw struck the wall he had been standing against. Dust and debris rained down. He stumbled to his feet, breathing hard, adrenaline pumping through him. Around him, the alien guards were still struggling to hold back the creature. Ethan's mind raced. He needed to distract it, lead it away from civilians. He scanned the street, spotting a pile of discarded metal crates. He grabbed a few, stacking them like a barrier, then jumped onto one and waved his arms. The creature paused, confused by the sudden movement. Ethan used the moment, throwing a small energy grenade from his pack. The explosion didn't harm the creature, but it startled it, causing it to turn toward him. He sprinted down a side street, leading the creature away from the city center. Liara followed silently from above, fascinated. She had never seen a human act with such courage. His size, his apparent weakness, did not stop him from facing danger head-on. She felt something strange, a spark of admiration mixed with curiosity. Who was this human? Why did he risk everything so easily? After several tense minutes, Ethan managed to lure the creature into a containment zone, where guards could finally trap it. He collapsed against a wall, breathing heavily, his body aching. The crowd that had gathered began to cheer. Some of the guards looked at him in shock. "You," one of them said, voice trembling. "You're human, you survived that?" Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead and offered a small, tired smile. "I didn't survive. I just tried to help." From her vantage point, Liara's lips curved into a faint smile. She had seen many aliens display courage, many of them born into strength and trained in battle since birth. But this human, so small, so seemingly fragile, had moved with a kind of bravery she had rarely witnessed. It was reckless, yes, but also brilliant. By the time Ethan walked back toward the city center, Liara had made a decision. She would approach him, learn more about this strange human. There was something in him that called to her, something different from any alien she had ever known. As he entered the city square, he noticed the princess standing near the crowd. Her presence made people step aside. Her eyes locked on him, and for a moment time seemed to pause. "Human," she said, her voice clear and commanding. "You have courage." Ethan blinked. "Thanks, I'm just trying to survive, really." Liara's eyes softened slightly. "Survival is important, but you move with a spark I have not seen before." She stepped closer, her gaze intense. "I want to know more about you." Ethan hesitated. Trusting an alien princess could be dangerous. He had seen enough politics and power struggles to know that alliances could turn deadly. But there was something in her tone, curious, genuine, that made him nod. I can answer questions," he said carefully. "As long as it's safe." Liara smiled faintly. "For now, just walk with me. There is much to see, and I am interested in your thoughts." The city of Vorith stretched before them, alive and dangerous. Ethan felt the weight of the day pressing on him, but also a spark of excitement. He had faced death, saved lives, and now he was being noticed by one of the most powerful beings on the planet. And unknown to him, Liara's interest was more than just political. She had seen a courage in humans that many aliens dismissed. That spark, the human spark, was unpredictable, unstoppable, and fascinating. As the sun dipped lower, painting the towers in red-gold light, Ethan walked beside Liara, unaware that this simple act of survival had already started a chain of events that could change the fate of not just Vorith, but the entire galaxy. For the first time, he realized that being human was not a weakness, it could be the most powerful force of all. The next day, the city of Vorith buzzed with excitement. Word of Ethan's courage in saving the children had spread quickly. News hollow broadcasts showed footage of the young human dodging the enormous creature and leading the children to safety. Many aliens whispered in disbelief. Humans were weak, unpredictable, and small. And yet here he was, alive, unharmed, and praised by some of the city's most respected citizens. Ethan walked through the crowded streets, careful to keep his pack close. Despite his growing fame, he felt the same mixture of unease and determination that had carried him through the previous day. Life on Zareth was not forgiving, and he knew the aliens would soon test him in ways he could not yet imagine. Liara was waiting for him at the palace gardens, her usual calm demeanor slightly altered. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, and there was a faint smile on her lips as she observed him approaching. "You survived well yesterday," she said, her voice smooth but firm. "Many humans would have run or frozen. You adapted. That is unusual." Ethan gave a modest shrug. "I don't know. I just acted. I didn't think much about running or freezing." Liara tilted her head, intrigued. "That is exactly why I find humans fascinating. You do not rely solely on strength like we do. You rely on your mind, your instincts, your unpredictability." Ethan frowned slightly. "Unpredictability can get you killed. Or it can win wars," she said, her gaze sweeping over the city. "And I have a feeling you will be part of one soon." Before Ethan could ask what she meant, a loud announcement echoed from the city center. Alien horns blared, drawing the attention of everyone in the streets. A holographic projection appeared above the plaza, showing the massive arena where warriors of all species competed for honor, glory, and influence. "Attention," a deep voice boomed. "A special challenge awaits the strongest and cleverest of our galaxy. This is the tournament of Zareth. All are welcome to compete." Ethan glanced at Liara. "A tournament?" "Yes," she replied. "And I have requested that you participate." Ethan's eyes widened. "Me? I'm not trained like them." "I'm not. You are human," Liara interrupted, her gaze sharp. "And that is precisely why you must go. You see the world differently, solve problems differently. I want to see what your human mind can do against the strongest of Zareth." He felt a knot of tension in his stomach. The arena was infamous across the galaxy, a place where warriors clashed for survival. Many had entered thinking themselves strong, only to be crushed by creatures or opponents far larger and more experienced. Yet something in Liara's eyes told him that she believed in him. When he arrived at the arena, Ethan could hardly believe what he saw. The colossal structure was a mix of metal, stone, and energy fields, capable of holding thousands of spectators. Creatures of all sizes and species roared, cheered, or hissed from the stands. Competitors flexed their muscles, tested their weapons, and demonstrated powers that seemed impossible. Ethan's first instinct was to feel small, insignificant, and out of place. Most of the aliens towered over him, some with 4 arms, others with wings spanning meters, or bodies covered in armor that seemed indestructible. Their confidence was obvious. They smirked as they looked at the human who had come to fight. Liara appeared beside him. "Do not underestimate yourself, Ethan," she whispered. "The arena does not reward size or strength alone. It rewards those who can think, adapt, and survive. That is why you are here." A horn sounded, signaling the start of the first match. Ethan was led to a separate arena section, a smaller zone designed for quick combat. His opponent was a massive alien with armor plating like stone and claws that gleamed under the arena lights. The crowd gasped when they saw the mismatch. Ethan's heart pounded, but he focused. He noticed the ground, metallic tiles with energy conduits running beneath them. He observed the alien's movements, slow but powerful, each swing of its claw leaving the tiles trembling. Then he remembered his training. Use the environment, be smart, be unpredictable. When the horn sounded, the alien charged. Ethan ducked, rolled, and used his smaller size to dart between the creature's legs. He triggered an energy panel with a kick, causing a burst of sparks that momentarily blinded the alien. He climbed onto a nearby beam, jumping off it to land behind his opponent, and used his rifle to create a short, non-lethal energy blast near its back. The alien roared in anger but could not turn fast enough to catch him. The crowd was stunned. A human so small was keeping pace with a monster designed to crush opponents in seconds. Liara's eyes shone with admiration. She had seen this before in humans, their ability to turn apparent weakness into advantage. Ethan repeated the process, using every trick he could think of. He dodged, climbed, triggered panels, and misdirected his opponent. In the end, the massive alien collapsed from exhaustion and missteps, unable to anticipate the human's clever tactics. The arena erupted in cheers, though many in the crowd were still skeptical. After the match, Ethan stumbled back, exhausted but alive. Liara approached him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You see? You do not need brute strength. You have your mind, your instincts, and your courage. That is enough." Before he could respond, the next match was announced. This time, a multi-opponent fight in a larger zone. Ethan's opponents included flying aliens that swooped from above, creatures that could project energy, and several warriors who had never lost a match. The odds were stacked against him. The horn sounded again. Ethan ran, keeping low, observing, calculating. He noticed patterns in the way his opponents moved and communicated. He used the terrain to his advantage, forcing the flying aliens into energy traps that stunned them mid-air. He led the energy-projecting creature into a narrow corridor, where it could not aim properly. He even tricked 2 warriors into colliding, giving him a precious few seconds to escape. Time after time, Ethan used his human ingenuity to survive and outsmart his opponents. Each victory was small, but together they built a reputation. Aliens whispered among themselves, confused and anxious. This human, he should have died hours ago. Liara watched silently, her heart racing. She felt pride in something deeper, something she had not expected, a connection to this strange, clever human who defied everything she had been taught about his species. His bravery, his quick thinking, his refusal to give in, it stirred emotions she had carefully hidden for years. By the end of the day, Ethan stood alone in the center of the arena, surrounded by applause, cheers, and astonished faces. He was bruised, tired, and drenched in sweat, but he had survived every challenge, not with raw power, but with intelligence, courage, and unpredictability. As the crowd dispersed, Liara approached him. "You have exceeded my expectations," she said softly. "I wanted to see what humans could do, and now I understand. You are remarkable." Ethan wiped dirt and sweat from his face. I just did what I thought would work. I didn't expect." "You exceeded," she finished for him. "And now the council will notice. The arena has its rules, and they will not ignore your victories. But beware, human. Not everyone will admire you as I do. Some will see you as a threat, and others will try to challenge you for your life." Ethan nodded, feeling both pride and apprehension. He had survived incredible odds, but the path ahead would not be easier. On Zareth, nothing was simple, and humans were still outsiders. Liara's gaze softened. "Come with me. The city is safer with allies, and I intend to ensure your survival, and perhaps more." As they walked toward the palace, Ethan looked around. For the first time, he realized that being human, small, underestimated, unpredictable, was not a weakness. It was a weapon, and in a world where brute strength ruled, a clever human could change everything. Unknown to him, whispers of his victories had already begun to spread across the galaxy. Aliens who had never respected humans were starting to reconsider their assumptions. And Liara, she was beginning to see something she could not ignore. Ethan was more than a warrior. He was a spark of something new, something powerful, something unpredictable, and he belonged to no one. Yet, the sun set over the city of Voreth, casting long shadows across the towers and streets. But in the arena, in the hearts of those who had witnessed it, the image of a young human warrior outsmarting and outlasting aliens far stronger than himself would not soon fade. The city of Voreth had not seen such excitement in decades. The young human warrior, Ethan, had survived the infamous arena, besting opponents far stronger, faster, and larger than he was. Whispers of his cunning and bravery spread through every market, every council hall, and every alien household. Some were impressed, others enraged, but all were talking about him. Liara watched the city from her palace balcony. Her mind was filled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, she admired Ethan's courage and ingenuity. On the other, she knew that many powerful aliens would not easily accept a human standing so boldly among them. And yet, a part of her wanted the world to see what she had already seen. This human was extraordinary, and she wanted to claim him before others could. The next morning, the Council of Clans gathered in the grand chamber of the palace. Towering pillars etched with glowing runes reflected the power and history of Zareth. Leaders from every clan were present, their voices a low hum of discussion and disagreement. They were already buzzing about Ethan's victories in the arena. Liara stepped forward, her presence commanding immediate silence. "The young human Ethan has proven himself in ways none of us expected," she said, her eyes sweeping across the room. "He is clever, brave, and adaptable. Traits our species value greatly." A tall alien counselor, his forearms crossed in authority, growled. "He is human. Small, weak, and untested. His victories are lucky. He does not belong here, and his presence is dangerous." Liara's gaze hardened. "Dangerous only to those who cannot see the truth. He belongs to me, and I will protect him. No one will harm him, and no one will underestimate him again." Gasps filled the chamber. Ethan, who had been brought in cautiously, froze. He did not fully understand what she had said. "Belongs into you?" he asked quietly. Liara approached him, her expression calm but intense. "You are under my protection, Ethan. My declaration is not about possession in the way you might think. It is about ensuring your safety and recognizing your value. Others may try to challenge you, but I will not allow it." The council erupted in debate. Some saw her words as bold and just, a recognition of true talent. Others saw it as a dangerous move, upsetting centuries of hierarchy. Aliens whispered that no human should be elevated to such a position. Some even hinted that Liara's favor could provoke war if left unchecked. Ethan felt a surge of anxiety. He had survived the arena, yes, but political power and intrigue were something entirely different. Humans were known for courage and cleverness in battle, but in diplomacy among powerful alien clans he felt uncertain. Liara noticed his unease and reached out. "Do not be afraid, human. You have done more than you realize. I will guide you. Trust me as I trust in your courage." The chamber quieted again as Liara continued. "From now on, Ethan will walk with me in public and private. His victories are a reminder that strength comes in many forms. Let no one forget that a human can be clever, brave, and indispensable." Ethan's heart raced. He had not asked for attention, and he certainly had not expected to be thrust into political significance. Yet there was no turning back now. Every alien in the room was watching him, waiting to see if he would rise to the challenge or falter. After the council meeting, Liara led Ethan through the palace gardens. The air was fragrant with glowing flowers and humming energy streams. Despite the tense political situation, the gardens offered a moment of calm. "You must understand," Liara said softly, "that many will try to test you now. Some out of curiosity, some out of envy, and some out of fear. Humans are unpredictable, and unpredictability is powerful, but it also makes you a target." Ethan nodded. "I understand, I've never been treated like this before. On Earth, I was always just another face in the crowd. Here, I feel like everyone expects me to either succeed or die." Liara smiled faintly. "Exactly. That pressure will make you stronger if you can handle it. And I believe you can." Their walk was interrupted by a commotion near the palace gates. A group of alien warriors, members of rival clans, had arrived unannounced. Their leader, a muscular alien with sharp green eyes, stepped forward. "Princess Liara," he said, bowing formally but with clear disdain, "we challenge your choice. A human warrior does not belong in our ranks, nor should he be elevated above us." Liara's eyes narrowed. "He is under my protection, and he has proven himself more in a single day than many of you have in decades. Your challenge is noted but irrelevant." The alien leader's expression darkened. "Irrelevant? You dare elevate a human above your own species?" Before the situation could escalate, Ethan stepped forward. His heart pounded, but he remembered every lesson from the arena. Strength was not always about size. It was about strategy, speed, and confidence. "I may be human," he said, voice steady, "but I've faced challenges larger, faster, and stronger than me. If you want to test me, fine, but know this, I don't fight just to win. I fight to survive, and I fight to protect those who cannot defend themselves." The alien warriors paused. His words were simple, but there was an undeniable authority behind them. Many of the younger aliens murmured in surprise. Humans were small, yes, but he carried a presence that could not be ignored. Liara stepped closer to him, placing her hand lightly on his arm. "You see? That is why I declared him mine. He is fearless, clever, and worthy of recognition. Do not underestimate him." The alien leader clenched his fist but did not press further. He knew better than to challenge both the princess and the human at the same time. Slowly he signaled his group to step back, though his eyes promised this was not over. Ethan exhaled quietly. He had survived the arena, but now the challenges were different. Politics, jealousy, and authority tests were just as dangerous as monsters or weapons. Yet he felt something else as well, confidence. For the first time, he realized that his human mind, his courage, and his adaptability could win respect in this world too. Over the next few days, Ethan accompanied Liara to council meetings, public events, and training grounds. Everywhere he went, eyes followed him, some filled with admiration, others with envy, and some with outright suspicion. He learned quickly how to navigate alien etiquette, how to read subtle gestures, and how to anticipate reactions. Liara remained a constant guide, her presence reassuring. She introduced him to allies, warned him of rivals, and subtly taught him the art of influence. But she also watched him with a personal interest that went beyond politics. She admired his courage, his cleverness, and above all, his unshakable human heart. One evening, as the twin moons of Zareth rose in the sky, Ethan and Liara walked along the palace balcony. The city below shimmered with lights and energy. "You have done more than anyone could have expected, Ethan," Liara said. "But now comes the true test. Survive the politics, earn respect, and understand that your victories in the arena are only the beginning. There will be those who seek to challenge you, to discredit you, even to harm you. And yet, I trust you can face them." Ethan looked at her, feeling a mix of pride and anxiety. "I'll try. But I've never dealt with this kind of everything before. Fighting monsters is one thing. Dealing with powerful aliens and politics is another. Liara smiled faintly. Humans are remarkable. You adapt, you survive, and you inspire. That is why I declared you mine. Not as a possession, but as a force that cannot be ignored. Ethan nodded slowly, understanding more than he could have imagined. Being human on Zareth was not just about survival in the arena. It was about surviving the judgment, the envy, and the expectations of an entire world. And for the first time, he felt that maybe he was ready. Suddenly, a messenger arrived with urgent news. A rival clan had sent a formal challenge, demanding Ethan face their champion in a public duel. The message made it clear that refusal was not an option. Liara's eyes flickered with concern, but she kept her composure. This is what I feared. The council and rival clans will test you now publicly, but I will be there with you. And together, we will show them what humans can do. Ethan's pulse quickened. Another fight, another challenge. But this time it was more than just physical skill. It was strategy, courage, and reputation at stake. He glanced at Liara, and in that glance he saw determination, protection, and faith in him for the first time. Ethan felt that he truly belonged somewhere, not because of his size or strength, but because of what he represented, the clever, adaptable, and courageous human spirit. The city slept under the twin moons, but for Ethan the night was filled with anticipation. He knew the next challenge would test him in ways the arena never could. And he also knew that he was not alone. Liara, the princess who had boldly declared him hers, would stand beside him, and together they would face whatever the alien world of Zareth could throw at them. The morning of the duel arrived with a tense energy that seemed to vibrate through the very streets of Voreth. Citizens, aliens, and visiting dignitaries crowded the plazas, their eyes fixed on the massive arena where warriors would fight for honor, reputation, and influence. Ethan stood near the entrance, his pack slung over one shoulder and his rifle at his side. The human's heart pounded, but he drew a deep breath, recalling Liara's words. Strength is not always physical. Adapt, survive, and inspire. Liara appeared beside him, her blue-skinned form glowing faintly in the morning light. Her eyes were focused, yet there was warmth in her expression. Remember, she whispered, you have already proven yourself. Today is about showing the galaxy that humans are clever, resourceful, and brave. Trust in your mind as much as your body. Ethan nodded, feeling a surge of determination. The arena's gates opened, revealing his opponent, a massive alien champion named Korath, whose body was covered in thick plated armor and whose eyes gleamed with lethal focus. Korath was a veteran of dozens of victories, his reputation nearly unmatched. His size alone was intimidating, more than twice Ethan's height, with claws that could crush stone. The crowd roared as both warriors entered the arena. Ethan's human size made him appear almost fragile next to Korath, and many in the stands murmured that the outcome was already obvious. Yet Ethan's calm determination drew subtle glances of respect, particularly from those who remembered his previous victories. The horn sounded. The duel began. Korath lunged immediately, his massive claws slashing through the air. Ethan ducked, rolling to the side, and drew upon every lesson from the arena. He observed Korath's movements carefully, noting that the champion relied on raw strength and predictable swings rather than speed or strategy. Using this knowledge, Ethan dodged, weaved, and led Korath toward a narrow section of the arena. The corridor limited the champion's ability to swing his massive arms freely. With a quick glance, Ethan spotted energy conduits running along the walls, unstable, overcharged panels that could emit bursts of electricity if triggered. Ethan ran past a conduit and leapt, using a small device to strike it. Sparks flew, creating a temporary barrier of electrical energy. Korath roared, surprised and angered by the unexpected obstacle. The crowd gasped. Humans were small, yes, but cleverness could level the playing field in ways brute strength never could. Liara watched intently from her seat above the arena. She had expected courage. She had expected intelligence. But Ethan's ability to combine the two in the heat of battle exceeded even her high expectations. Her eyes never left him, and a quiet pride filled her heart. Korath recovered and charged again, but Ethan continued to adapt. He climbed on low walls, jumped from elevated platforms, and used obstacles to slow the champion down. At one point, He led Korath into a trap where the champion's own momentum caused him to collide with a reinforced barrier, stunning him briefly. The duel was more than a test of strength. It was a mental battle. Ethan anticipated Korath's moves, dodged with precision, and used the environment to create advantages. The crowd's initial whispers of doubt began to shift to awe. A human, small, underestimated, and often dismissed, was outmaneuvering the galaxy's most fearsome champion. Korath roared, fury in his eyes. He swung harder, faster, but each attack seemed to play into Ethan's strategy. Every step the human took was calculated, precise, and daring. At one point, Ethan feigned a stumble, luring Korath into a trap that caused the champion to get momentarily entangled in an energy net designed for arena beasts. The crowd erupted in cheers. Liara's heart raced. She had declared Ethan hers, bold and public, and now every spectator could see why. This human's courage, intelligence, and adaptability were undeniable. He was not just surviving, he was excelling, turning every disadvantage into an advantage. Ethan pressed his luck, knowing that overconfidence could be deadly. He remained focused, moving swiftly, observing every twitch and tilt of Korath's body. Then he noticed something. The champion favored his right arm for attacks. With this knowledge, Ethan baited him into overextending that arm, dodged, and used a grappling hook to pull a suspended platform down onto Korath's legs. Unbalancing him, the champion roared in frustration, struggling to regain footing. Ethan seized the moment, moving quickly and striking Korath's chest with a series of controlled energy blasts. The blows were not lethal. They were designed to disable movement temporarily, but they worked. Korath staggered, stunned by the human's clever combination of traps and direct attacks. Finally, with one last clever maneuver, Ethan used a reflective energy panel to redirect a blast toward Korath's armor. The armor, overcharged by the energy, emitted a blinding light and temporarily stunned the champion. Ethan moved in, holding his rifle steady but careful not to harm Korath permanently. He had proven the point. Humans could outthink giants, adapt under pressure, and survive impossible odds. The arena erupted. Cheers, shouts, and stunned murmurs filled the air. A human had bested the champion. Liara's chest swelled with pride, and she could not resist standing, her voice cutting through the roar. "He belongs to me." The declaration echoed across the plaza. Aliens froze in surprise. Some were angry, some impressed, and some whispered fearfully. Liara's words were more than a claim. They were a statement of recognition and protection. She pointed directly at Ethan, her eyes blazing with authority. "This human warrior is under my protection. Let all who doubt or challenge him beware." Ethan's face flushed, a mix of embarrassment, pride, and disbelief. He had never expected to be publicly declared as anyone's in a world of powerful aliens. Yet Liara's words carried weight beyond anything he had imagined. He felt a surge of gratitude and trust. This princess, this powerful alien, had recognized his worth and was willing to defend him openly. Korath, still recovering, glared at Ethan with a mixture of fury and respect. He had been bested not by strength but by cunning and adaptability. Slowly, he nodded, acknowledging the human's skill. The gesture, small as it was, sent a clear message. Ethan had earned respect, even from those who had doubted him. As the crowd dispersed, Liara approached Ethan once more. "You see?" she said softly, her gaze intense. "Strength is not only muscle or size. It is courage, intelligence, and heart. You have all three. That is why I claimed you. Not for ownership, but because the galaxy must learn the value of humans." Ethan nodded, still catching his breath. I don't know what to say. I've only ever tried to survive, and now I feel like I've done something bigger than that." Liara smiled faintly. "You have, and there will be more tests. This duel was just the beginning. Now you must navigate the jealousy, envy, and politics that will follow. But remember this, I will stand with you, and together, no one can underestimate a human again." The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the arena. Ethan felt a strange mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. He had faced impossible odds, outwitted the strongest champion, and survived with skill and cleverness. But more importantly, he had proven something to the galaxy and to himself, that humans were not weak, and that courage and intelligence could shine brighter than any armor or weapon. As the crowds thinned and the city lights glimmered, Ethan and Liara walked side by side through the palace gardens. The air hummed with energy, and the glowing flowers reflected in Ethan's eyes. Liara's hand brushed briefly against his, a silent gesture of trust and recognition. "You have changed everything, Ethan," she said softly. "Not just for yourself, but for every human who comes after you. The galaxy will never look at your kind the same way again." Ethan looked at her, feeling both pride and responsibility. "I didn't do it for glory. I just did what I had to, and I guess sometimes that's enough." Liara smiled, her eyes reflecting the twin moons above. "It is never just enough. It is extraordinary. You are extraordinary, and I will ensure the world knows it." In that moment, Ethan realized something profound. Being human was not about being the strongest or the fastest. It was about courage, adaptability, and the willingness to face the impossible. And in a world dominated by giants and warriors, that was the greatest power of all. The night settled over Vorith, but the story of the young human warrior and the princess who boldly claimed him was just beginning. Across the galaxy, whispers of the humans' victory spread, and with each tale, respect and curiosity for humanity grew. The day after the duel, Vorith was alive with rumors and chatter. Ethan's victory over Korath had become the talk of the entire city, and beyond. Citizens, merchants, scholars, and even rival warriors discussed the human's cleverness, his courage, and the princess who had boldly declared him hers. Many aliens whispered that humans could no longer be underestimated. Ethan walked through the palace halls, escorted by Liara. For the first time, he felt the weight of expectation pressing on his shoulders. He had survived the arena, bested the champion, and navigated rival clans' challenges. Yet, he sensed that the declaration of belonging had made him a target of envy, intrigue, and curiosity. Liara guided him to the palace council chamber, where representatives from every clan had gathered. Even those who had been critical before now waited with cautious respect. The atmosphere was thick with tension, but also anticipation. "Today we acknowledge the human warrior Ethan," Liara announced as they entered. Her voice carried authority, commanding silence. "He has proven that courage, intelligence, and adaptability are forces that cannot be ignored. Not just by me, but by the galaxy itself." Ethan's eyes scanned the room. Aliens of all shapes, sizes, and colors were watching him. Some nodded with approval, others with hesitation. Korath, the defeated champion, stood quietly, his respect for Ethan evident in his calm posture. Liara continued, "This human has survived the arena, bested a champion, and demonstrated qualities that even seasoned warriors lack. From this day forward, he is recognized as a valued ally of the palace and a representative of human potential." The chamber buzzed with murmurs. Recognition from the princess and the council was unprecedented. Many humans would have been dismissed as weak or irrelevant, yet Ethan had changed their perception entirely. A voice broke the silence. "Princess Liara, this is bold, but do you risk upsetting the balance of power by elevating a human in this way?" It was a counselor, his tone measured but wary. Liara's gaze was sharp. "The balance of power is maintained by those who act wisely. Ethan has earned this recognition. It is not a risk. It is the future. Humans are clever, adaptable, and brave. They are a species to respect, not underestimate." Ethan felt a strange mix of pride and humility. He had never sought fame or recognition, yet here he was, standing at the center of a galaxy of powerful aliens. His life had changed completely, yet he understood that the challenge was not over. Respect earned was fragile, and suspicion lingered. After the council meeting, Liara led Ethan to a private garden within the palace. The air shimmered with glowing flowers and flowing energy streams. She looked at him, her expression softer than the commanding princess the council knew. "You have done more than survive, Ethan," she said. "You have shown that humans are extraordinary. But this is just the beginning. The galaxy will watch you, test you, and challenge you. You must be prepared for what comes next." Ethan nodded. "I understand. But I never expected to be here, recognized like this. I just tried to survive." "That is why you succeeded," Liara replied. "Humans have a way of turning survival into brilliance. That is why I declared you mine. Not to control you, but to protect you, to recognize your worth, and to ensure others do not underestimate you." As they spoke, a messenger arrived with urgent news. Another clan had issued a formal invitation for a joint mission, seeking Ethan's insight and human ingenuity in resolving a critical interstellar conflict. The request was respectful, almost deferential, an acknowledgement of his abilities and a recognition of his value. Liara's eyes gleamed. They seek your mind, Ethan. Not your strength alone, but your insight. Humans are feared, respected, and trusted for the first time in history. You have begun a new era. Ethan's pulse quickened. The mission would be dangerous, yes, but it was also an opportunity. He realized that being human was no longer a disadvantage. It was a strength. The galaxy had underestimated his species for centuries, but now they would see what humans could do. The following days were filled with preparation. Ethan trained with Korath and other warriors, not in brute strength, but in tactics, strategy, and problem-solving. He shared his human perspective, teaching aliens how to think differently about challenges, obstacles, and even conflict resolution. His ingenuity impressed even the most skeptical veterans. Liara observed silently, pride and admiration in her gaze. The human she had boldly claimed was growing into something extraordinary, not just a warrior, but a leader, a thinker, and an inspiration. His courage and cleverness were transforming not only her perception, but the galaxy's understanding of humans. Finally, the day of the joint mission arrived. Ethan, Liara, and a team of elite aliens boarded a spacecraft bound for a distant star system. The mission required strategy, diplomacy, and quick thinking. The aliens relied on strength and experience, but it was Ethan's unique perspective that allowed the group to anticipate dangers, avoid traps, and negotiate with hostile species. During a critical encounter with a rogue fleet, Ethan's quick thinking saved the team. He identified a flaw in the enemy's formation, suggested a maneuver the aliens would not have considered, and coordinated an unexpected strike that disarmed the threat without unnecessary loss. The team emerged victorious, and the galaxy's whispers of the human warrior grew louder. Aliens who had doubted him now shared stories of his ingenuity, courage, and the loyalty he inspired. Even Korath, once his rival, publicly acknowledged Ethan as a peer, a human worthy of recognition among the galaxy's finest. Liara stood beside him during the celebrations, her hand brushing lightly against his. You have done more than survive, Ethan. You have changed perceptions, proven your worth, and inspired respect. And you have done it without losing your humanity. Ethan looked at her, realizing how much her declaration had meant, not as ownership, but as trust, recognition, and protection. I couldn't have done it without you, he admitted. You believed in me when no one else did. Liara's eyes softened. And I will continue to, not because you are mine, but because the galaxy needs humans like you, and because I see what others cannot. Courage, intelligence, and heart are the greatest strengths of all. The sun set over the planet, casting golden light across the celebrations. Aliens and humans alike honored Ethan's achievements. Stories of his victories and ingenuity spread to distant systems, and the perception of humans began to shift. No longer weak, insignificant, or expendable, they were seen as clever, brave, and resourceful, a species that could survive, adapt, and inspire. In the quiet moments afterward, Ethan and Liara walked through the palace gardens. The glowing flowers and energy streams reflected their shared understanding. Words were unnecessary. Liara's declaration, bold and public, had changed everything. The galaxy now knew that humans were extraordinary, and Ethan had proven it. Ethan felt a deep sense of belonging, not because he was claimed, but because he had earned respect, trust, and recognition. Liara's protection was a bond of loyalty and admiration, not ownership. Together they had shown that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could triumph over size, strength, and prejudice. As the twin moons rose over Vorith, Ethan looked up at the night sky. The stars seemed brighter, more full of possibilities. He understood that his journey was far from over, but he also realized that humans had the power to change perceptions, challenge expectations, and make their mark among the stars. Liara's voice broke the silence. Do you see, Ethan? The galaxy is beginning to understand the truth. Humans are extraordinary, and you are the proof. Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of pride and purpose he had never known. Then I'll keep showing them, he said simply. One challenge at a time. Liara's hand found his, her touch firm and reassuring. And I will stand with you as I promised. Together, nothing can underestimate a human again. The galaxy had witnessed a small human warrior face impossible odds, outthink powerful aliens, and survive against every expectation. And with Liara's bold declaration, Ethan had proven that courage, intelligence, and determination could shine brighter than any armor or weapon. As celebrations continued below, the human and the princess looked toward the stars. The future was uncertain, filled with dangers and challenges, but one thing was clear: humanity would never be underestimated again. And Ethan, the clever, courageous, and unshakable human, had shown them why. The story of the young human warrior, his daring victories, and the princess who proudly declared him hers would be told across the galaxy for generations. He belonged not to anyone as property, but to the ideals of bravery, ingenuity, and hope, and somewhere in every whispered story and celebrated tale, Liara's words echoed, "He belongs to me," not as possession, but as recognition of what humans could achieve. A declaration that one small, clever human could change the galaxy forever. The twin moons rose high, casting silver light on the city of Vorith, and beneath them, Ethan and Liara stood together, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that courage, intelligence, and heart were the true weapons of the universe.